Diane DeWald with CreativeCatCrafts.com. Welcome back to the channel. And I have to say, this is one of my favorite visuals, this black craft and white. I have to make a bunch of thank you cards for an event and wanted to do something that was eye-catching, at least in my opinion. Like I said, I'm partial to this look and decided to do some experimentation with Prismacolor pencils in black and white, the jelly roll pens, and then I even did one of these in Gina's white amalgam or pigment ink, and had some success, had some fails, even tried some Gamsol, and this was my first attempt. I stamped a Memento, did Prismacolor, tried the Gamsol, and then stamped over it again a second time with the Versafine Clair and got some double printing or some shadowing of the blacks. So I'm like, well, not dummy, but I had a lapse in judgment or memory and should have used the Whisper, and it would have turned out perfectly. Gamsol on Kraft cardstock is not a huge success. I don't know if it's the manufacturer or the makeup of the craft, and it's excellent cardstock. It has nothing to do with that. It's just colored cardstock is very different than the smooth white, where the pigment of your Prisma wax colored or wax based colored pencils is easily moved around on a smoother surface than colored cardstock. Colored cardstock is notorious because of the dyes that are used, and I don't know the science behind it, just my experience that the fibers and the ink and what goes into the manufacturer just does not take Gamsol and Prismacolor pencils well, just in my opinion. And it's not just Gina's cardstock, it's just about any colored cardstock I have used. So my first attempt, like I said, was kind of a fail because of the double black. So this was the second one with the Whisper and then Prismacolor, and then I used a gel pen and added some dots, and I thought, I wonder if this technique will work with this stamp set, because this bundle that I have, it's the stamp, the die, and it's got some coloring stencils. So I thought, oh, let's get the white ink, a foam dauber, and let's dauber on the ink. And you might be able to see here, I made this an hour ago. This ink is still wet, and I've used a heat gun to try to heat set it. And pigment ink just takes a really long time to dry in this type of coloring format. So I'm going to say using the foam dauber and the white pigment ink is a hard fail, just for this video recording purposes. You might have success. Give it a try. I'm not going to demonstrate it on video. We're going to do the Prismacolor and go from there. So let me get you all the dimensions and supplies that we're going to use. So the jelly roll, white and black, they may or may not make an appearance, but definitely the white Prismacolor will make an appearance. And while I'm thinking about it, my tip is pretty, so I love this. Look at that. It just sharpens and then shoots it back out. I love this. I'll put this down below. I picked it up off of Amazon. I don't remember how much it was, but I will make sure that I have it in the description down below. And for inks, we're going to use Gina's Amalgam Whisper ink. Then may or may not, yes, with a Memento for stamping the sentiment. And then the black, I like using this Versafine Clair. Use Gina's Amalgam ink, her black onyx. If that's what you have, that's perfectly fine. I have just been in love with this Versafine Clair Nocturne for eons. And if they ever decide to stop making it, it will be a sad day and you will probably hear me cry. So, stamp sets, dies, and other things we're going to use. Peaceful Petals. We're going to use, see, I used this one in my Mother's Day, and we're going to use the C-shaped flower spray and nothing else from the bundle. I'm not using any dyes, and since we're not coloring this, we're not using the stencils. Then the Thankful Inside and Out is where I got this greeting from. It's this thank you down here, and I've already got it pulled out just like the flower spray. They're already set up in my Mistis. Yes, I have multiple Mistis. It just helps with video recording like this so that you get to see uninterrupted, and it just makes my life easier in the recording process. So master layouts 1 and 2, and if you do not have master layout 1 and 2, where's the cardstock? Here is my cardstock. We're going to use from master layout 1 the 2 large rectangles, and then the larger of the 2 rectangles, basically the plain rectangle. We're not going to use the stitched because you can see I've got 3 layers here, and the top layer on the front is master layout 2, the 3 5/8. That's the Kraft. Then master layout 1, 3 3/4 by 5. That will be our next layer. And then master layout 1, the 3 7/8 by 5 will be our third layer. And our card base is Kraft, and we'll get that scored and folded here in a little bit. Then on the inside, I have not stamped it yet, but it's the same process. We just don't have 3 layers, we have 2. And master layout 2, 3 5/8 by 4 7/8 is my white. And all of my white panels are Neenah Classic Crest Solar White 80 pound. And this is master layout 1, 3 3/4 by 5. And this is actually 65 pound pop tone. And I believe the color is called Black Licorice. So that is for our inside. And why don't we go ahead and get these 2 glued together, our base scored, and at least that done and out of the way. So I have my little score tool. This is from, I had somebody ask, and yes, I think Sandy, you asked about this. I have had this scoring tool for over 25 years. It is a Stampin' Up! Score tool. I had their score platform, and in one of my many moves, I broke it. Bad on me. I miss it. So I salvaged this, and I don't know if I don't think they make this tool anymore. They've all become plastic, and in my opinion, just my opinion, the plastic ones tend to not stay crisp and sharp. And then this is just a bone folder, Teflon bone folder I picked up at Amazon. So this is Gina's score tool. I love the portability of it. It took me the longest time to transition from my big We Are memory keepers down to the little one. And if I'm working on 12 by 12 paper and need to score things, I will definitely pull that monster out, especially when I'm working on my interactive scrapbooks. And get that. Perfect. Got a little bit of a cardstock dust over there on the side. That happens when you use dyes over time. Cardstock tends to get little hairs on the sides. At least mine do. I'm assuming everybody's does. And that just goes there in the center. I will, at a later date, stamp sentiment on there or write a note. And I'm going to get my big block out, push that up to the side, and give the camera something to focus on here while I close up my glue bottle. And next is next. Let's go ahead and get our panel done. And I've already got my stamp from Peaceful Petals positioned. This is just scrap cardstock. When I have a photopolymer stamp and I leave it in the door, I like to, when I close it, I like to have a piece of cardstock in there because I don't recommend trying it, but this is photopolymer material, and when you get two of those stuck together, you might have a hard time opening that door. Don't test the theory. I'm speaking from experience. So I'm going to go ahead and tuck this down into this corner. I don't need that any longer. And the Whisper Amalgam ink. Let's go ahead and get this. I do that all the time. It's because I take the lid off with my left hand. I set it down here to the left. And this is from the Stampin' Bug. I'm not an affiliate. I just love it. And we got enough ink. I might add a little bit more just to that point right there, just so that it's easier for me. Ooh, that's way too much, but that's okay. It'll disappear in just a minute. This smooths out. This is Gina K's ink, and I believe, I'm not sure about the pigment. I don't know if the pigment inks smooth out over time, but I'm going to use Gina's stamp cleaner since this is a pigment ink. And I'm just going to wipe this down. And I'm leaving the stamp alone because I want to stamp over this in just a few minutes. Oh, sorry, I slammed that lid. And I'm going to move you. Oh, I'm sorry, that got really blurry. See, I got to give that camera something to focus on. Otherwise, it just gets blurry. So I'm going to pull you in really close. And my sharp Prismacolor pencil, I'm going to try to keep my hands out of the way. I want to stay inside the line, but I don't care if I go over the line. So you see that? I stayed inside the line, but I really don't care if I stay or if I color over the lines inside the flower. So I want to make sure I stay inside. And I'm kind of doing this in circles. I don't want pencil, since I'm not going to use Gamsol, I really don't want to see a lot of pencil marks. And like I said, I'm staying within the flower, and I don't care if I go over the lines on the inside of the flower. I'm going to try to do this real quick. You know, I watched a video with Gina. I think it was last week. She said something about, because Megan Andrews did a video, and Megan is perfectly fine recording and crafting on a video and being silent. I feel like I need to fill the space up. That's just me. Gina said the same thing. I'm just filling this in as much as possible. And got 2 more flowers after this. Like I said, I love this technique. I think the craft with the white and the black, first of all, it's like a chalkboard, but I think it's just really classy. Got a little flower after this and then a smaller. I just want to make sure I get enough pencil on these. Okay, let's get this. Okay, I'm going to sharpen that pencil again. That was a little dull. Since this is such a little guy, I want to make sure I have enough sharpness here. And I think my video on Friday, I'm going to also do Kraft and white, but I'm going to do it with a twist. There's your little teaser for Friday. And then I have to record next Tuesday because, you know, it's Memorial Day weekend coming up. There we go. I think that's pretty cool looking. Just the little white blobs here. So let me bring back that Misti and move you back out because, whoa, sorry, that was in. My remote was upside down. Sorry about that. And we're going to tuck this over here in the corner. And this is where the magic happens. Oh, I have a cut on the end of my finger and I didn't even notice that. So here's where I use the Versafine Clair. And this is what I love about this. Look at that. It just, this ink is just the bomb. And get my little, I'm not going to moosh hard, but I want that. And look at that. That's so crisp. Now this flower down here, I need to, okay, everybody move up. I need to add just a little more ink to that. Oops, that ink pad did not want to open again. There, I'm not mooshing down. I'm just adding some firm pressure. Oh, that's much better. I love that. Isn't that gorgeous? I just love that. So I'm going to go ahead and clean this off the stamp, and I'm going to use Gina's stamp cleaner because this is truly a pigment ink. It's not a hybrid. Yeah, it takes it right off. And I am done. So I can pull this stamp off and put it away. And we are done with that. Okay, and I'm going to pull you back out. And I'm going to, because this is a pigment ink, I want to, let me pull you back further. We're done with this Misti. So I can tuck it away where it lives. And I'm going to get my Ranger heat tool. Even though I'm going to let this sit for a little bit, I'm going to help it out. I want it to dry. And my cardstock's starting to curl, so I'll heat the back a little bit. But I am trying to heat set that. Okay. Isn't that beautiful? So the next thing, I've already set up my sentiment. And here's a little trick. If you're making die cuts of things and you have layers on the front of your card like this one you're not going to cut, but you can take cuts out of either one of these. So I'm going to grab the die for my thank you, and I'm just going to cut it right out of the middle. I already have a second one cut because I like having my sentiments have just a little bit of oomph. And I'll be right back. Actually, I'm not even going to pause you because I'm just looking at the time. I'm only 21 minutes in. We're going to be done with this card lickety split. Okay. So there's our die cut. And here's our panel. And we're going to go, not yet. I don't want to take the chance. I want to make sure this really has a chance to dry. And I've used 1/2-inch minty tape on the outline of my thank you. And that kind of just holds that die cut in place. And I'm going to use the Memento Tuxedo Black. I have used this ink for ages for sentiments, or I could use the Versafine Clair, two stampings, and it's perfect. So let me clean that. I just need some water since it's a dye ink. And I can put this away. And I don't need this anymore, so I'm going to pull this little guy out. Don't need this. And focus on that camera. So yes, I actually have 3 Misties. I know, it's overkill. Okay, so our panel with our thing on the inside. Here's all of our panels here. And let me grab my glue. See if I can get that upper right, lower left. And that's a little warped, so I'm going to use that to press down. While that's pressing down, I'm just going to grab a little bit of glue on this second die cut. Ooh, that's sliding all over. That's all straight. Transfer that over, make sure that's, and here's where you want to be careful. I normally do like a big thing in the middle, but because I know I have that, I don't want to have to clean up glue. So upper right, lower left. There we are. And this is beautiful. That turned out gorgeous, don't you think? I love doing the outline in the Misti, sticking the die cut in after I've done a quick stamp. It's perfect every time, and I don't have to worry about my die shifting in the die cutting machine. It just lines up all the time. Okay, let's go ahead and get this on. And now I can do the fun stuff on the back. Nobody's going to know. Nobody will know. That's the beauty of that. Only you will know that you took a cut out of that. I do that with all kinds of die cuts. It lightens the card and just makes it so much easier. Now I'm going to switch over to Gina's matte glue because it disappears. And I'm going to grab my tweezers, put them on the end. Oop. Got to take the cap off. And then just dot some glue along the back. And I like having it down here. Or do I want it up there? I don't know where my other one went. I think, ooh. Decisions. I think I like it up here. So, okay, camera, help me out, get this straight. Yes. And we're just going to let that sit like that. And while that's doing its thing, this is the Mini Pearls Gold, Black, and Silver from Gina K. And get enough of you little black dudes there. Domes up. Okay. So let's, even though I messed up that one, I like the placement. Ooh, that's kind of big. And my pick and stick. Let's go ahead and warm that up a little bit so these mini pearls will stick. Oops, see? It didn't stick. And you're going to see the glue smoosh out the side. That's okay. This is Gina's matte glue, and it dries completely clear and not shiny. Oh. And I'm going to see if I can pull some of this glue off. Nope, I'm just going to leave it alone because it is going to dry clear. Just don't heat it. I think I saw somebody who heated it and I don't think it went well. I think it bubbled. I'm not 100% sure. Last thing we're going to do is we're going to take this gel pen and let me see if I can move you in just a smidge closer. And all I'm doing, I'm just putting little white dots in strategic places. Just because it just adds a little bit of interest. And then I should have gotten that rolling there. That's better. Okay. Go back and redo some of those dots. Yeah, these jelly roll pens, you really do need to get that ink flowing. All I did was scribble. And then the other thing I'm going to do, all these little black points on the end of the stems. I don't know what they're called. It's just some floral interest. I'm going to go ahead and color these in with the Jelly Roll. It might. And then all these little stamens in here. I'm going to make the end of those little stamens. Get that really rolling. They're not going to sparkle like foil, but in certain light, you might be able to capture it a little bit. But yes, that glue will disappear. For example, this one, the glue disappeared. You don't even see it anymore. I mean, it's there. I can see it getting it close to my face, but on camera here, you can't see it. So there you go. Thanks a lot for joining me and making this stunning card with white, black, and craft. I have enjoyed making these types of cards for eons now. I will have everything I used linked down below. If I happen to forget something or you have a question, just drop me a comment down below. And while you're perusing down there, if you would hit that like button, that helps me with the YouTube algorithm. And then if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, hit that subscribe button and then the notification bell so that the next time I post a video, you are notified. And until next time I see you, happy stamping.